Okay. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Good evening. It is now 6 o'clock, and the July 7th meeting of the DSRSD Board of Directors is called to order. May you join me for item 2, Pledge to the Flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well done. Item 3, roll call, please, Nicole.
Director Goel,
Present.
Director Duarte,
Here.
Director Von Heer Leopold,
Here.
Vice President Govinda Rao,
Here.
President Halkett.
And I'm here. All right, item 4, straight to 4A, new employee introductions. I see the accounting crew here, so I think we're going to get one of them introduced. Take it away.
Good evening, President Halkett, members of the board, Jaden Sanga, Director of Finance for DSRSD. It is my pleasure to introduce a new addition to our accounting team, Maggie Chow. Maggie has over 20 years of accounting and finance experience in both public and private sector. In her most recent role, she served as the accounting analyst for the town of Danville, where she was responsible for financial reporting, CIP, audit, and budget processes. Maggie holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from San Francisco State with concentration in finance and accounting. Please join me in welcoming Maggie to the district. And Maggie, if you'd like to say a few words.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jaden. So for the detailed introductions, and just to add, I'm also living in Dublin. So happy to be here and serve the community I live in, and very thankful for this opportunity and bringing me to part of this family. Thank you.
Well, welcome.
Welcome.
And I'm glad we stole one from Danville instead of Pleasanton this time. So I still can't eat lunch in Pleasanton. It's dangerous to go over the border. Okay, item 5, public comment. It is open to the public meeting. I have no blue cards. Do we have anything? I see some folks I don't recognize. Anybody in public comment?
No speaker cards.
No speaker cards. Okay, we're going to move through that item. Agenda management, I assume we're straight on through.
Straight through.
Excellent. All right, consent calendar. These items are considered routine, will be enacted by one motion. If anybody wants to pull anything from the public or from the board, so 7B we're going to pull and discuss. And we will go ahead then. I'm not hearing any other stuff, so let's go ahead and approve. I'd like a motion on 7A and 7C.
I'll move approval 7A and 7C.
I'll second.
Got one. I've got 2 seconds. I'm all the way there. Nice. All right. Mr. Cody, you can pick out whose second got in under the wire.
Put a run.
All right. So consent calendar A and C, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions. We got a 5-0. All right. 7B, Mr. Duarte, say your piece.
Yes, thank you, President Halkett. I just had a quick question for our engineering department. I saw in the tally of the bids, the low to high bid, but I did not see a chart of a tally on the bids we received for the construction management services. Is there some reason for that?
We haven't been typically including that in the staff reports, but we did receive 3 bids from 3 different companies and followed the purchasing policy for our organization as well too.
Is there some reason why we didn't post their prices?
So typically for construction management services, those are best value. We don't necessarily award those based on low bid. We base those on services.
I realize that.
So we can provide that additional information to the board. It's just not something that we typically do.
All right.
In the future, I'd like to see those.
Okay.
So that we can see the comparison.
Not a problem.
We can include that additional information in the next board communications update for this project.
Right. And then, in the future. It's a real cost, I guess. I mean, what does it run typically? 5, 10%? Something like that?
I'm sorry.
What does it run typically? Like 5 or 10% or?
Well, CM services are typically, as Jan just mentioned, that professional services are usually based on quality of the proposal.
Okay.
But I think that is a practice that needs looking at. We need to look at again. We need to know what their prices are, because sometimes the evaluation of the proposal based on qualifications alone doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go with low or the second low or even the third. And I think I would like to, in the future, for us to have a chance.
Just see the grid. Yeah.
That's all.
Makes sense.
If I may.
Yep.
When I've been part of awarding contracts for CM services, because it is about quality and performance and expertise, generally there's a scoring criteria from an interview that may have happened. And so there could be a ranking profile, but generally cost is not disclosed because not always is the envelope opened for a professional services contract if they're not awarded.
Now, I'm very well aware of the process. Our firm has submitted on both sides as GCs and as CM. So we've been doing it for 40 years. But as I said, I think the public sector has gotten in the habit of saying that, well, it doesn't matter what their price is. We're looking at qualifications. Well, the price does matter, and especially in the case of budgets. When you have projects we have a project here that's 35% over our original budget. So I think all of that warrants at least our looking at it.
Okay. So noted. Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion for this item 7B.
I'll move approval 7B.
How about a second?
I can second it.
All right. Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. None opposed? We're going to build a new reservoir. Woohoo. Okay, going to move on to item 8A, board business. Authorize the general manager to execute a contract with Enterprise Fleet Management, Inc. for a fleet management services pilot program. Steph.
Good evening, President Halkett and members of the board. I'm Dan Gill, the district's operations director, and I'm here to present on a fleet management lease pilot. This is the agenda which I'll go through. We'll first cover some background. We'll go over our current vehicle replacement policy. I'll do an introduction to the Enterprise Fleet Management Program, pilot benefits, costs, and staff recommendation. In January, I provided a district fleet update. In that update, I requested support to explore a third-party fleet management program with the goal of achieving a more cost-effective approach to fleet management, which includes vehicle acquisition, leasing, and maintenance, and an opportunity to reallocate some of our maintenance staff. This is a reminder of how our fleet looks today with various vehicle types, power types. We have about 86 total vehicles, with 54 being light duty. The district mechanical maintenance staff are responsible for maintaining the district's fleet of vehicles, in addition to performing essential mechanical maintenance on critical water and wastewater infrastructure. District fleet maintenance occurs at the district's fleet maintenance shop located at the regional wastewater treatment plant. Historically, we've had 2 full-time employees that are assigned to fleet maintenance, which only represents a portion of their overall responsibility. Maintenance, including tire, engine, transmission, suspension services, as well as factory computerized programs that allow full electronic diagnostics. Current vehicle replacement policy, we resale when the vehicle is 10 years old and or 100,000 miles. There are drawbacks to our current policy. There's increased unscheduled maintenance, vehicles that are older. The result is low resale value on older vehicles. And older vehicles are less fuel efficient and lack some of the modern safety features, which are now mandatory for new vehicles. To address these challenges, staff evaluated Enterprise Fleet Management, or EFM, as a third-party leasing option. Their lease model, called an equity lease model, provides a middle ground between full purchase and traditional leasing. The lease is structured on the estimated value upon resale. The district receives net equity from the resale at the end of the lease, and vehicles are sold at peak valuation, which may occur prior to the end of the lease. In our research, we found that this lease program can lower operating costs such as maintenance, fuel, repairs, while providing the district with newer, more dependable fleet vehicles. Other key benefits are lower maintenance costs because vehicles are new and within their warranty periods, improved resource allocation. Staff can focus on our core business function and critical infrastructure. We can adjust the size of our fleet and vehicle type and our business needs relatively quickly. We can also adjust to evolving regulations such as the changing implementation dates of zero-emission vehicle requirements from CARB. We will also have a more predictable cash flow with leasing, giving the district an opportunity to minimize the cyclical large capital expenditures associated with the traditional purchase of new vehicles. One of the biggest benefits is safety. Our oldest model vehicle is from 2002. 41% of the district vehicles are over 10 years old. There have been major safety innovations made in the last 20 years. Analog brake standardization happened in 2007. It's over 20 years ago. Electronic stability control was standardized in 2012. Backup cameras were standardized in 2018. Bluetooth, hands-free, use of cell phones is now fully equipped in most modern vehicles. So there's a lot of safety improvements which we can make. In addition to these EFM program benefits, EFM has a large vehicle network with robust purchasing power and has secured a fleet leasing and management services contract with Sourcewell, a government purchasing cooperative, formerly known as National Joint Powers Alliance. Securing these services through Sourcewell contract will ensure buyer power and fair competitive pricing for the procurement of new lease vehicles. The district purchasing procedure encourages the use of purchasing cooperatives as an alternative to the competitive procurement process. These are local agencies which use this enterprise fleet management program. We won't be the first. We've talked to some of these agencies and we've heard nothing but positive from them. There's a ton of flexibility with the improved cash flow. There's greater visibility and control of expenses from the telematics that are included. It frees up the valuable staff time to focus on our core business. And we would deal with a dedicated fleet management team at Enterprise to do any of the maintenance required for the vehicles. So we'd have a team that would specialize in managing that fleet. We are proposing to begin with a 7-vehicle pilot. District staff worked with EFM to identify 7 light-duty vehicles from the district's fleet to be included in the EFM pilot program. These vehicles were selected based on age, usage, and resale value. Participation in the EFM program will include EFM-provided procurement and licensing of new vehicles, full maintenance, telematics, real-time vehicle monitoring, diagnostics, services for the vehicle, and surplus sale of the corresponding retired fleet vehicles. The cost of the first year of the contract is $95,000, which includes setup costs. Thereafter, the annual cost is approximately $65,000 until we reach that 5-year point, of which Enterprise Fleet Management would also resale them, and we would get the equity from that vehicle sale and continue on with newer model vehicles. We have funding for this pilot established through our existing capital improvement plan called the Fleet Assets Program. This is the program that we already use to fund replacement vehicles. Our recommendations are to authorize staff to proceed with the lease pilot, implement the program by the end of this year, and provide the board an update on the pilot outcomes after the first year. To answer any of the board's questions, if you have any.
I'm sure these guys aren't shy. I'm sure they will. Nicole, nothing from the public. I don't have any cards, nothing from
No
outside.
speaker cards.
Okay, so let's toss it to the board. Go to the right. Oh, you went last time. We'll go to the left. Georgine, anything?
I don't have any questions, just a comment. I don't like foreign vehicles. You knew you would get that from me, right? But other than that, I was in favor of this when I first heard about it because I thought it was a good savings. So I don't have any questions.
And it would not surprise me if the Hondas were actually manufactured in the United States.
I don't care. They're not owned here.
They are.
You
Anyway.
know what my argument is.
Anything?
Can you go back a couple of slides? It was the one where, yeah, that one right there. So if I'm reading that correctly, in over 5 years, we're looking roughly about 280,000.
Right.
If you take the 350, the equity, okay. So I'm just, do we have? I mean, what was if we were doing a comparison? You know, with the let's say these like 7 vehicles, similar thing. What was the cost of that? You know, in the same time period.
For these same vehicles, it'd be about $350,000.
Okay, so we're saving about whatever the equity cost is.
So we're saving about $80,000. 68,000. I'm sorry, the equity.
68, yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
That's based on the projections, and that's the hope of the pilot. We hope to see what the real savings are.
Great. Oh, thank you. The only other thing I would just suggest, I mean, thank you for putting the presentation together. Nice job with it. When you mentioned that you reached out to other agencies to understand their programs as well and just get their feedback, I think it'd be good to just have some testimonials in the report so we could see, you know, what was stated by them. But I appreciate you taking the time to do that. Just I think it would be nice. I mean, I'm more of a visual and like to kind of see those sort of testimonials. So thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Well done. Sir?
I think Director Govindarao asked my question, but maybe in a different way. If we were to have purchased these vehicles on year one, all of these, what would have been the estimated cost or
It would be
MSRP value?
$350,000.
$350 upfront. And if we were to have just made payments, right, assuming you're 5 year or 10 years, what would have been our annual payment for the first 5 years?
For those, I mean, I didn't look at that. We looked at the outright retail of those same models
Because we don't usually.
and not financing it.
On this, I guess this analysis, the way I'm understanding it, is this set of 7 vehicles is $350,000 worth. Am I hearing that correctly? And then what the anticipated resale at the end of 5 years is $68,000. What's the residual value that you're calculating that on? Yeah.
So we are going to sell the vehicles. Yeah, I'd have to look that up.
And the reason why I'm asking that is on a traditional lease for an American car, after 3 years, you see 50%. The second 3 years, another 50% reduction, right? And so I'm just trying to make sure we're drawing the similar conclusion in there. And of course, there's offsets. There's these other benefits, which is the maintenance, which is the service. What I don't think is being said inside of here, and unless I missed it, is Enterprise Fleet, if your vehicle goes down, gives you an instantaneous rental while that vehicle is being serviced. Is that inside of this agreement?
Yes. That is part of the agreement, that
Right.
you could rent a vehicle when it's getting serviced, correct?
Could rent for fee, or is it part of the existing fee?
I think it's an additional fee, but we may not do that because we could have an extra vehicle available. We have some enterprise representatives here as well.
So these vehicles will be under a warranty program, so there will be a loaner from the manufacturers. Okay. Yeah.
So that's provided free from the manufacturer. You do have the option of doing a loaner through us. It would be at a cost, but it would be at a cost that's less. And then to answer your question on the residual, yes, there are written down to a residual. We sell tons of vehicles, almost 1 million vehicles a year, so we outpace that number. And in this scenario, I believe we're
Very good. And those are important things to, kind of embed inside of this for the future, and maybe as part of the recap of your findings on the pilot program. And I think there's another offset inside of here is your usage fee, which is, or not the usage fee, but the usage costs, for instance, on your brakes and your tires. Those are costs that are not recognized right now, I don't believe, in this economic that's viewed here. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the wear and tear on those items are at our cost.
So the question that I have on the flip side is, what is the anticipated miles on these vehicles, these particular
It
7 that
differs.
are getting offset?
Yeah, so it differs per vehicle and what we're using at. Most of these are pool cars. The only item number 5 is going to be a vehicle that's going to be used by the on-call. That's why it's a little more expensive, because it's going to incur more mileage. I think we put $15,000 miles a year on that vehicle.
And the other ones are
The other ones are much less
Yeah, it's between $6,000 and 15 miles.
miles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
so. I'm going to ask a follow-on question because I lease my cars, and so why wouldn't we have looked at a 3-year lease, a low mileage lease program instead of a 5?
I think that's a part of the pilot. We want to see how the program is implemented and see how the savings look like over the 5-year term. I think we can adjust the years as well.
But if you're going to pilot something, it may be good to have kind of what Director Goyle is saying and run it up against the 5 years. So doing kind of both and seeing what is more economical at the end.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you agree?
because in a 3-year lease, your residual is much higher, and especially with a low valued. And I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but I think if we want to make this a structured pilot, we've got to make sure we're accounting for all variables.
we have the technology to be able to analyze specifically every single vehicle, and we did an analysis which is the most beneficial for the district. So we went from we can do it from 12 months up to 60 months, and then the results we go by cents per mile, and then the best cents per mile on this analysis was the 60 months. So everything that we're recommending is backed up by all our data and all the over 2 million vehicles that we manage, and then we are providing this with support of the vehicles that we manage. So when we're recommending the 60 months, it's already because it's this lower cents per mile. However, these are open-ended leases. So in case that you guys are, or we see, we're gonna be managing like how many miles you're going, the market as well. So if we see that the conditions of the market are beneficial to sell that at the 36 months, we're gonna recommend it and say like, hey, this is the optimal time to replace this vehicle. We're gonna get much higher resale value. So let's sell it. The decision is still with the district, and you get to say yes or no, but we will be showing you the data every quarter, and we're going to be showing you by car and by car class.
And if I can add, part of the way we structured this pilot is modeled after what Contra Costa Water District and Alameda County Water District did. Contra Costa Water District similarly moved forward with a 5-year pilot, had a kind of a smaller amount of vehicles. Based on the success, they expanded this program. ACWD expanded their program. And so this is kind of a model that has worked for agencies that have a very similar operation to us, which is this 5-year lease pilot. Part of it is, as Dan mentioned, is an opportunity to collect some additional data to do some of these comparisons that the board is requesting. There's quite a few older vehicles in our fleet, and we don't necessarily have all the analytics on all of these vehicles, but this will provide us with an opportunity to collect that data and run some of those comparisons.
And I guess part of the reason why I'm really in it is because I'm looking at your biggest costs in your first 5 years is your 30,000 mile service, your tires, and your brakes. And if you keep it at 3 years, you get an offset. And so I'm just encouraging as you go down this pilot not to be blind to this one fact, because that's that hidden cost that you're going to get hit with, not recognizing it. Beyond that, I think the only other question, thank you for helping me with that. And it's the question that we all have to ask ourselves, and nothing against the provider here. Are there other providers? And did we inquire with other, or did we go with provider A because they're commonly used already?
Well, we went with Enterprise Fleet Management #1 because they're used throughout the area. We checked references on them. In addition, they are a Sourcewell contractor, so all of the vehicles that we will be getting will be, we are already getting the lowest price. They are competitively bid to get the best price on those vehicles. So we've followed our purchasing requirement.
Now, in the Sourcewell, were there any other vendors that qualified? So is our policy then that we can pick from any that are listed within, and one of the benchmarks is looking at the ranking?
Yeah, so when you go through these cooperative purchasing agreements, it's Sourcewell that's already done the competitive solicitation, so it does allow us to come in and make a selection based on which vendor within that group we think is going to best meet our needs.
Thank you, and I wanted to have that stated for the record. I appreciate you guys' time on responding to my inquiries. Thank you.
Awesome. Ed?
I'm pleased to see that the district is exploring an option like this. That's a good way to continue making the district operate like a business, because that's what we need to be doing. I would echo Director Gold's comments that be very involved in tracking all the data that you're going to be getting. Don't just trust their program. And look forward to some positive results.
Thank you.
Excellent. Let's see. Just a couple from me. Let's get one of these framed and sent to Anne Marie for. Send her a copy of the staff report. She'll like that. That was her thing. And 2, all right. So if I understand, so we're going to do like 7 kind of standardy kind of vehicles to try out of a fleet of about 84. Will Enterprise ever be able, like the really specialized stuff, like the vac trucks and some of the things that are, kind of goofy? Eventually, will those end up in the program, or is that something that's always going to have to be kind of handled as a one-off because they're very unique?
As with any change with the district, I'd like to go slow.
Yeah.
It took a
No,
while
no,
to get here.
I'm not saying rush into the back truck business.
But you know,
I'm just
I
wondering where
I
this
would-
thing might end up.
I would like to see this expand to all of the light vehicles at some point, assuming that it'll be successful. I'm unaware of any heavy vehicle that Enterprise can do. Do you do the heavy vehicles?
We can do
Yeah. Right.
So,
So-
medium duty F6.
So the real crazy stuff we're gonna have to always do on our own, pretty much, because that's very specialized.
Yeah.
Got it. And then, if I heard from the staff report correctly, and talking to Jan, we have two individuals who currently turn the wrenches and kind of keep the cars running, which is great. I'm assuming that they can be put to good use doing some other useful districts. I don't want anybody to lose their job over this. So
We do have our core business function that we can definitely, focus on more, but we also have our more complex vehicles that they are also going to be focusing on.
oh yeah, so they'll
Back trucks, combo
they'll do the
trucks.
back trucks and that kind of stuff.
Yes, so there's plenty of
Generators and
work.
such. Got it.
Mhm.
Excellent. Okay, I think everybody said their piece. Pretty straightforward item. I'll call the ball. Whose turn is it to make a motion? There we go.
Second.
We got them. So all the right side this time. Okay. Let's go ahead and call it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No abstentions? Got a 5-0. Thank you for joining us tonight. Your answers were actually very, very useful, and it's always good when we do business with people to see them. So that's great. So now we can go on to item 9. 9A, board member items. 9A1, Joint Powers Authority and committee reports. My paperwork indicates none. Is that correct? We have none of those.
Well, we didn't have a meeting, but Derwa had its 20th birthday party, and it was well attended. We had people from Zone 7, as well as council member from Livermore and Pleasanton. So it was a nice day.
Awesome.
Turned out well.
Well done. Well done, Dura. 9A2, submittal of written reports from days of service, events attended by the directors. I think I went that way last time, so let's go this way. Mr. Duarte, anything? Mr. Goyle?
That was at the 20th anniversary.
Yeah. And you liked it too, right?
Good. Excellent.
Yeah, same thing. Attended the Derwa 20th. A couple things I wanted, just some shout outs. Dan did a great job with kind of kicking it off. I mean, also Director Georgine Juanita Leopold, as well as Luis Gomez, also did a nice job in the talking a little bit about the history of Derwa. And then Todd did an amazing job on the tour. I mean, just great job. So please let him know as well. Just love the tour. He did an amazing job, and big, kudos to him. So, and to all of you, thank you.
Awesome. Georgine, do you have anything for days of service?
Yes, I went to a executive board meeting for Alameda County Special Districts, and it was mostly tied up with discussing our joint meeting in July, on July 15th, next Wednesday, as a matter of fact. It unfortunately is out at Diablo Water District, out in the Tules. It's in Oakley, but it should be a nice day. They're going to provide lunch. The meeting isn't at 8 or 9 as it normally is. It's at 10, so we have a little time to get there without traffic. The next meeting, September 9th, is at Oraloma, and that's the one that's in the evening. So we can get a beautiful view of the sun setting over the bay, they say. We went through our officers, and we're replacing Roland with Jim Wheeler, who is from Hayward Area Recreation and Park District, and Rick, and I've just blanked on his last name, who's going to be the new treasurer. Other than that, most of the officers didn't change, just the important ones. We went over a little bit of the budget again, but I'm sure Jim and Rick are going to have changes. It's really great that they're from the same area, because that's one of the reasons I stepped down as treasurer, It's too difficult to do what I think should be done when I'm not touching any of the checks that are deposited. They're all handled in Castro Valley. And as treasurer, I don't like that. I think that's not doing the job well. So I'm really glad they're from the same district. And that's it.
Excellent. All right. I think that dispenses with 9A2. We'll go on to 9A3. Any agenda items that I know we asked for some clarity on some of the fleet stuff. I think we asked for a little more color on construction management. Anything else anybody wants to get onto a future agenda? I know Jan takes good notes, so I'm sure those two items will be dealt with. Let's go to 9B, staff reports.
We had the South Bay Aqueduct outage last week, and I wanted Dan Gill, Operations Director, to just talk a little bit about how that went and what we learned.
Thank you, Jan. Members of the board. So beginning on June 26th, we received word from one of Zone 7's retail partners, Cal Water, that they experienced a lot of taste and odor issues in their service area. This was followed by the city of Pleasanton having the same complaints. We didn't receive the majority of our complaints to the Monday of the next week. Fortunately for our water system, we experienced more of the blending from the well system, and we had one day where we did receive a lot of complaints, and we had been communicating with Zone 7 the whole time, and they did make operational adjustments to the treatment of the taste and odor issues. We had a consistent message to our customers that the taste and odor issues were aesthetic, that the water was safe to consume, and it was the same message that Zone 7 had put out as well. Eventually, the taste and odor issues did go away just in time for the 4th of July holiday. As for the South Bay Aqueduct maintenance, it kind of came and went without issue. We didn't have any supply issues because the demands were relatively low because of probably the weather, maybe the messaging worked. I'm here to answer any questions of the board, if there are any about the taste and odor issues or any of the operational activities associated with the South Bay Aqueduct maintenance.
Go ahead.
Just the obvious question, any lessons learned?
I think one of the lessons learned, we were so focused on the maintenance of the canal system that we kind of should have thought why they were doing the maintenance, and it was because of the elevated algae at Clifton Court Forebay, which is one of the feeders into the South Bay Aqueduct. So we could have proactively put out some messaging if there are taste and odor issues experienced in the service area that don't overreact. It's a part of the maintenance, and the water is safe to drink. Also, I think with Zone 7, they did a good job communicating. There's been some turnover on their operational staff. I think if we would have brought it up, just keep a close eye on how they're dosing their ozone system, probably would have helped a little. So
I guess the communication, they did a good communication blitz to let people know that this was happening, and maybe incorporating that little piece in there would have worked. I mean, I think we do know when we go through a drought and we start going towards the groundwater, things change. When the heat goes up, things change, right? So that's good. But how about, this was done by the state, right?
yes.
And so did the state have any acknowledgement on any learned lessons or feedback there?
Dream on.
It was a hope. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was some learned lessons on effective shutdown and cleanup and what they wanted to achieve. Maybe we'll hear about that at a later time.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Just a few more events, upcoming events. As a reminder, the board meeting on the 21st is canceled, and we will be having a special board meeting on the 28th. And also the Tri-Valley Mayor's Summit is scheduled for July 30th. So if you are interested in attending that event, please let Veronica know.
Where's it at?
It's at the vineyard, the Gare Vineyard in Livermore.
Okay, so we're moving the board meeting by a week. Anything else? Good? All right. Okay. I'm out of items, so I guess can't see that far. I'm gonna call it about 6:40. We are adjourned.